Welcome to our Introduction to Dreamweaver tutorial. I just want to show you the template we'll be working with in our tutorial. It's a basic template with room for our header, our navigation on the side, any sidebar information, the main content of our website, and then on the side this is to kind of add a negative space to the design but also to stylize your color scheme. This template is the same template that was used to create this website. As you can see, they are drastically different because they've taken in their banner and then using the color scheme represented in their banner, they've gone consistently into the body, the navigation, and the menu and the body on the outside. So this template is the same template that was used to create this file, okay? So what I want you to do to get this template is you're going to go to first class, and there's an email sent from Ms. Fagin, and it's called index.html. If you double click it, it's going to just take you into Safari. This is not what you want to do. What you would like to do is right click and save attachment. Okay? What you're going to do is save it to the save files as index.html. You just hit save, it will save to your computer. What I'd then like you to do is in your save files, make a new folder called radio website. In there, I'd like you to add the index.html that you've saved, so just pull it into this file, and also bring in your banner. If your banner is a JPEG, a PSD, a GIF, it does not really matter. It just needs to be in the same folder. Now, you must put everything in the same folder for your website. If you go to insert a picture or an attachment that wasn't in this folder and then later on you bring it into the folder, it won't work. If you never bring it in later, it won't work. So although you may see it working on your computer, when we go to upload it to the internet, it will be missing. And I am marking your websites off of the internet. So if you could double click again the index, it's going to open in Safari. What you need to do is right click, open with. Your second option is Adobe Dreamweaver. Adobe Dreamweaver is a static website developing program, which means that it creates a layout for the web that isn't very interactive. It's standard information that can have interesting features. For example, my GIF has the on-air that will flash, but I can't interact with it. If you wanted to make it interactive, you'd have to use a dynamic website program like Flash, for example. So, as you can see, I've inserted my banner, but I'm going to remove it just so that we can do it together. So, before we kind of go too much into it, I'm going to talk about your different modes. The first one is code, and this is how websites used to only be made. So if you're taking Comp Sci, by all means, feel free to work in the code. At the top is your styles, and then it goes into the content of your website further down. The second option is split, where you can see both your codes and the website. When you switch where you're clicking, it will move in the code. Whenever you run into a problem, the first thing I will do is I will come and see your code and see what's going on there. The design is the easiest way to navigate around, but again, you need to be aware of your split in order to actually make it go that extra level. So the live is what it would look like if it was on the internet. Now, I can't do as much editing when it's live because I couldn't delete it if I was viewing it, okay? So what you need to do is make sure live is off when you're editing, but if you want to see something moving around and working, feel free to see it in live. So I'm just going to delete my banner because we're going to put it. You all have this lovely blue bar at the top. Just make sure your cursor is clicked into that area and go Insert Image. Now, remember, you are going to save files and your radio website folder. This is a must. And inside my radio website folder is my banner, and I hit open. Now, if you opened a PSD, your screen doesn't look like mine. What it's going to ask you is to rename it as a JPEG, and it's going to create a JPEG file of that and put it into the same folder. Okay? So just say OK and name it, and make sure it goes to the radio website folder. Then when you do that, you'll get to my screen. Now this is for accessibility. For example, if someone who has poor vision is using their computer, they've probably set up that when they roll over things, it will narrate to them what they're going over. So this would, if they were said banner, when they went over it would say banner to them if they have the program installed. And there is my website. If you still have text above it, highlight the text, hit delete, and it will fill the space. As you've noticed, I have this nice little space between mine. Yours probably just goes right to the top. What I've done is I've added a padding margin, okay? I want to just talk about how you change all these areas, change all these colors. So this gray space here is the actual body. This is your container. Inside of your container, I have my header, my navigation, my sidebar, and my content. Why the heck does that matter? If you want to format or change your colors, you must go to the CSS style sheet and make your edits. And you need to know what things are called if you plan on using them. I'm just going to move this down so you can kind of see more of what's going on. Okay, so if I navigate through this, you'll see all those things I just said and more. But the main ones you need to know are body. And again, header 1 would be coding of titles, but the next one is your container, which represents all of these elements, so the whole package of all of these. Your header, which is the actual where your banner is. Your sidebar represents the sidebar right here, and your content is the information right here. So I added a space to my container. So if I double click the word container, you'll have all these options to change the default type, the default background, the default block, the default blocks. This is where I'd like to show you. You have two options for formatting space. You could add an interior padding, which would give you this nice white space the whole way around the box. And you could change the color to that as well. By going to your background and changing the color. There you go. Okay. Or what you could do, which I have done, and just put 0 here so you can see it, is I've added this nice margin to the top. And I'm going to make it drastic so you can kind of see what it looks like. But it makes your frame go down. You can also add it to the bottom so that it limits on both sides where the actual websites contain. It really containers it. I really like having a space. I put 45 at the top, a nice little breathing room. Negative space is always good for your users as it allows for easier navigation through it because you're not overwhelming them. Okay, so that's how you add that nice little space. The next thing I want to do, well, see, you notice how this is gray? It's because I changed the container to gray. So I'm just going to go back and change my container back to the white color I wanted. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is our lovely background here. That is how we change it is with the body. And so right now, if you can see, my background is this lovely charcoal color. I could choose to use the same color as my banner and have that go all the way around. So it's kind of a nice consistent color. Okay. If I went live, you'd see what that looked like. But I kind of like having that contrast around my banner. It doesn't let it run off as oddly where there's cuts here. So what I've done, what I like to do, is I'd like to go to Safari, and I like to go to Google, and I like to Google the word wallpaper. Now, I know you're thinking about the wallpaper you put up in your house, but the internet's smart, and I know you're talking about most likely a background for your main screen or a website. So you can use the word wallpaper and find an image you might like. By all means, if you find this image, for example, and you know you want to change the colors, you can go into Photoshop and change the colors. Don't be limited. So if you saw this butterfly that you really want it to be pink, you bring it into Photoshop and make the butterfly pink. You can also add, if you wanted a pattern, you can use different things that make up a pattern, like a damask, and it would tile this into the background. If you want a theme, it's like sports or music, then you'd be able to get a lovely paper as well. Okay, so that's my music wallpaper. And what you're going to do is you're going to find an image. Now, the image must be saved to the same folder as everything else. Okay, you cannot change your folder. So you need to pick an image, view original image, never save the small thumbnails, always go to view original. Let me navigate through, and there's my picture I'm going to use as my background. So I'm going to right click it, and it's not downloading, so I can't save it yet. There we go. Save image as. That is not what I want to do. Control Sorry, when my video is recording, my computer runs a lot slower, so you need to bear with me. We're going to save the image to the same folder, so save image as, and use whatever image you would like. I'm just showing you the process. In Save Files, I'm going to locate my radio website, and I'm going to save it to my radio website. Then I'll go back to my lovely Dreamweaver. I'll double click the body, and I'll find background image, and I can locate that image I just saved, open, apply, and then I have my lovely background. Okay, so it kind of creates this music theme. Now maybe I would like it to be a bigger size, so the font really comes off the side here. In that case, what I would do is I would go to my radio website folder, open the image in Photoshop, and resize it. And then again, save it and just insert it again. So don't be limited by what you find. Go into Photoshop and change your pixel resolution. The next thing is your navigation. This navigation does not go with my radio theme at all. So there's 4 different things in navigation. There is ULNav A, visited, hover, active. Those are the 4 you need to know. A is what we're seeing right here. This is the starting point. Visited is if I had clicked to broadcast, it would show me I'd already been to the home page, and so maybe it might be a different color. Now, in the past, this was a very popular thing to do with there was inner links, like this one here, and they wanted to show that you've been to all these places from the website. It was a really cool thing to do a long time ago, and it was easy to know where you've been and where you haven't. It's not so prevalent anymore to show where you visited, because where you go through so many contents nowadays that it's overwhelming if you keep changing the color. Hover is if I go in my live mode and I hover over it, see how it changes yellow and white. I don't really like that, it's hard to read, but that's my hover. And then the last one is active, which represents the page you're currently on. So there's nothing set up differently for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the 4 codes, not just the 1. And so I'm going to turn my live off, double click my ULNav A, and I'm going to make the background color the same color as my banner. Apply. Okay. Now my font's impossible to read, so again I'm going to change the type, make the color a nice white color. Okay. So there we go. Apply. Nice contrast. If you ever get a space like that, just go Command Z, it will disappear. And now my live mode again, if I'm hovering, it goes yellow, it's still kind of hard to read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my hover, and I'm going to make the background be the same color. I don't want it to be that much of a change. Apply. And I'm going to make my type the color of the red here. So I'm working with the colors I have. It's important to use colors you have because you want to create a consistent theme. Colors can be very important. There you go. When I go over it, changes it. So it's all nice and consistent with my color scheme. And the last 2 is the visited and active. I want them to just remain the same. So I'm just going to make my background the same so that it stays nice and consistent. And same, so visited and active, I don't want them to know they're on something special. So I'm going to just make it the same. And if that did not work in any means, click apply. Okay. And so there I have my lovely navigation. Your sidebar is this lovely gray space here. Same consistent things. So I'm going to go to my sidebar, which for some reason it's called sidebar 1 because you can have multiple sidebars if you'd like to add more. And I'm just going to make it run off the same colors so that it's a nice consistent color. Notice I'm saying consistent a lot because consistent is what you want to give your viewers. Okay, and that's all we're going to end off at today. Next class, next YouTube tutorial 2, we will talk about actually making these links go somewhere and adding rollover images. Okay, so have a good class.